and the beep beep telephone. It's a little place to call your own, where the facts are still unknown. It's the Adrian Lozano Show.
Attention listener, attention. Warning sign prohibited sign passport control, no one under 18 to be perfectly clear. This is a warning for the audio you are about to hear. The Adrian Lozano Show is for mature audiences of legal age only, no one under 25. This program contains explicit and very graphic descriptions of acts of a sexual nature. Strong adult language and adult situations along with adult themes such as controlling violence, and occasionally you might get graphic references to drugs and alcohol usage. The Adrian Lozano Show is a show about a very funny man who does reviews of every kind of entertainment and discussing new movie trailers with his various assortment of special guests. Adrian also covers life lessons dealing with anxiety and being manic, as well as depression, stress, and the everyday battle of struggling with mental health. As always, this is a comedy show intended for the purposes of humor if you like jokes in bad taste. So if you were still here, then good on you, mate. We appreciate your support. You can also support the show by going to anchor.fm and becoming a supporter. We're going to patreon.com/Adrian Marcus Lozano, Marcus with a K. And we thank you so very much for listening. Now on with the greatest show ever to have Lozano attached to it. It is time for the Adrian Lozano Show.
Hello. My name is Adrian Lozano, and this is the Adrian Lozano Show. What is it? It's a show where I share with you the things that I feel you should know, or you'd be better off knowing. Just a little bit of Texan point of view.
We're gonna buy you a diamond ring, and if that diamond ring don't shine,
That's not how I remember that song. I remember it more like, dun, 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 blah, 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 blah. No?
No, I'm talking Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels, Mock, yeah, Ing, yeah, Bird, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think, is that when they sold it to that dead bird to that blind kid and Dumb and
That
Dumber?
was after they were on the road. They were just picked up that dude that was the hitchhiker, but he was really the assassin.
Mm-hmm.
And his name escapes me, but it was while they were taking him and he figured out that they were idiots, that they started singing like that, and then they were like, oh, let's pull over and get some food. And then they pulled the trick, they killed him. Oh, it's such a great movie.
Yeah.
But that song pops into my head every now and then.
That movie's gold.
It's pure gold.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sir, so I'm going to say, is there anything you would like to let the listeners know? In particular, since we are winding this episode up, now that we've been fed.
Vote for your favorite ice cream. I think that, personally, mine's got to be anything with peanut butter cups in it or strawberries. Either one of those, like, is fucking... I swear to God, I swear to God, I could sit there and eat a quart of it. You know, it's like...
In front of children.
It's just that good. I mean... in front of anybody, really, for the most part.
Anybody can watch. I mean, I'm not shy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ice cream. And you know, I feel like it's a conversation starter. It's like having a cigarette, lighting up a cigarette. You know, it's just conversation starter. Everybody wants in. You know.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, man? Just smoking this ice cream. You know, it's a
conversation starter.
It's a long process.
Please stop talking to me. I'm trying to smoke my ice cream.
It's a long process. You know, you gotta warm up the grill. You know, get it up to about 200 of them. You know what I'm saying? Get a nice slow smoke in there. You know, and then just Put your cream on there and smoke it till it turns to ice, man. I'm serious, dude. Like, that's how you smoke your ice cream.
Did you learn that at the Cold Creamery or at the Stone? Or is it Marble Slab? Is that where you learned that?
Yeah. The cold stone slab.
Cold Stone Stonery.
Yeah, I think that I think they call it, I think it they put stone in there not because it has anything to do with ice cream. I think it has to do with the fact that if you're stoned, that is like Disneyland to you. Like if you got the munchies, that's a great place to be. Like if I had the munchies, that's where I'd want to go. Either there or go to like some place that had just like a big juicy burger. Like a medium rare burger. With some bacon and some cheddar, and and a Lipitor, and
you're making these pork chops we just had seem so insignificant compared to that, because that sounds really fucking good.
Well, I mean that's stoner's fantasy right there, man. You
Hey, wait, what does that say about me?
Well, I don't know. Whatever you want to take it, man. I just I can only imagine being super stoned and super hungry and not being able to find anything to eat. I think that would drive me insane. Like I would probably just get out and walk and try to find some place if I could not drive to find something to eat, just to have if nothing else the satisfaction and sensation of it. I think it's more of a personal thing.
Personal trip?
Yeah, cause I don't really smoke, but when I do, like it just makes me wanna munch out and watch a cool movie. Watch like an action movie or a comedy or something like
Top Gun.
that. Well, I don't know about Top Gun. Top Gun is overrated in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's gonna be nothing compared to Top Gun 2.
I can't remember who it was saying, Tom Cruise is always Tom Cruise, in his plots. He's a really, out there and rowdy guy, and then he meets this chick who doesn't want him to be so out there and rowdy, and then they have their problems, and
Isn't that...
then he gets sweet, and then he just is out there and rowdy with his chick, and the movie ends. That's like every Tom Cruise movie.
Yep, that's Jerry
ever.
Maguire. That's
Top Gun.
That's Top Gun. That's
Cocktail. That's
what's the one where they have that's where they're doing the handball thing.
Mission Impossible.
No, well there's that. Fucking. They're doing the handballs, and they got the fucking bald people that see in the future, the clairvoyants and whatnot.
Oh, you're talking about Minority Report.
Minority fucking Report. Yeah. It's because I'm a
that was actually a good movie.
Yeah, that was one. The same way.
That was definitely one of his better movies, in my opinion. And I really like that guy from The Exorcist being in that movie. That old man. He was really good in there. The one that actually is the one that was in charge of the precogs.
Oh yes,
Yeah, that guy.
Wasn't it like they were his kids or something like that?
I don't know if they were his kids, but he definitely took care of them like they were his kids.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and he actually got his eyes replaced so that he could get past security.
One of my favorite parts. I'm sorry. One of my favorite parts about Minority Report is that he's a drug addict. And he's mourning the loss of his son.
Yeah.
And he has drugged, and he knows it's illegal, and he has a dealer and everything, but I like that his dealer had no eyes, but I like that he managed it. Like, he wasn't, like, getting fucked up and then going out in the streets. Like, he was at home watching home movies. It made it so sad.
Yeah, that was quite, how do you say?
A tearjerker? Tearjerker? And for the audience, I am making the tear-jerking motion.
Yeah, and he's moving his hips too. It's gross.
He wishes he could look away.
I am looking away. I am holding my face so that I don't have to see it.
Blinders like a horse.
Yes. I'm putting on my sclera contacts now.
Oh, God.
No, but it was just incredibly sad. Yeah, I was just like, wow, this guy
and
is
then the
just
whole fucking
and the thing and the fact that it's just because if you've ever been there, like it's just a swirling pool of depression and sadness.
I think you fished me out of that pool earlier today, sir.
And regret and guilt and all those terrible things that just make you want to do more drugs. I just really, you really feel bad for the guy, but you also are inspired by the fact that
you want to do drugs.
He gets out there and he actually does something. He kind of comes around.
That psych out though, where they pretend to give him the murderer of his son.
Yeah,
that psych out. I feel like that for me was like. What kind of movie is this? Like, they're convinced they can break this dude, and he's like, I'll never kill anybody, that's not me. And it's like, oh, we'll get you to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know,
it's like, the database just went, oh, we got something here.
Yeah.
We got something.
All the setup.
We got something for you, ass.
That was... It was a crazy movie. I really liked aspects of it.
I like how it turned out too.
I didn't like the cops on jetpacks though. I feel like that would be very...
Oh, that's awesome.
Very destructive. Like, I don't feel like that. I feel like you'd have more... You'd be cleaning up more cop bodies off the wall than you would be, like, arresting people by jetpack.
You talking about just, like, running into buildings?
Yeah, like, just splat. Like, we're like fucking water balloons.
There's some office buildings that, like, are pretty much mirrored all the way around, and around there.
Steel frames.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like if you walk around those buildings, a lot of times you'll see dead birds. Like at the base of the buildings, because they just flew into it.
Yeah.
So you're saying that there's gonna be cops like that? Just that's a cop.
People don't pay attention when they're driving.
Step over him.
I feel like somebody won't, like, if somebody's in pursuit...
Not disrespecting cops or anything, I just think that...
you guys are ready for jetpacks?
Yeah, I don't think the humans are ready to drive in the third dimension. That's why we have pilots, and we have pilot school. Like, I don't see most people being able to... I mean... Look at how much trouble they have driving in 2 dimensions. Left, right, forward, just on this plane.
Yeah.
Adding a whole nother third dimension.
Of up and down?
Yeah, up and down, virtually any direction. Being able to drive in pretty much any direction is more than I feel like the average person can mentally handle responsibly.
Do you feel like it would be like that, or do you feel like it would be like Star Trek, where it's like, hey, you can go literally in any number of directions?
I think everybody would just be running into each other.
I think so. Like, I feel like, because that's one thing that's always bothered me about...
They do it now. That's what I'm saying. They do it now.
Yeah,
in the 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it should only be reserved for certain people, who are... licensed to do that.
If they are pretty enough.
No, licensed to do that and have proven that they are capable of doing so.
To do that. That's what I want on my fucking license.
I am licensed to do that.
Well, it's very vague. I mean, it's not specific at all. There's a question mark and an apostrophe after that. I mean, what are you doing to me?
Yeah, well, we can always add to that.
Yes.
Hey, that's a comedy bit right there.
I like that.
I think that, definitely, that was a really good movie, and definitely one of his best ones. I'm kind of done with the, what are we on, like the 7th, Mission Impossible. I feel like it's, Tropic Thunder style, like Scorcher 8, we've, Meltdown, who left the fridge open,
oh, God.
Tug Speedman,
those names.
Like,
I don't know. I don't like. I like the first Mission Impossible movie, and I like the second Mission Impossible movie.
yeah, I did too.
The third one...
I really liked the soundtrack from the first and the second one. Both of them were really good.
The third one was the J.J. Abrams one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, right?
I believe so.
Okay. After that, I fall off. Because I think the fourth one where he's like
You fell
climbing...
off?
He's like climbing that building in India in that fourth one, I think.
I didn't even
He's
pay
like
attention.
he's like climbing the tallest building in the world. And like he really apparently was like hanging from 2 wires doing that. And it's like, what are you fucking doing, bro? Like...
Well, I know that Tom Cruise really does enjoy doing all those stunts. Like, he enjoys doing it.
The last fucking movie he did, didn't he? I think he broke his leg on The Mummy. I think it was The Mummy, or it might have been Mission Impossible, but he broke his leg on one of them, and
He was in The Mummy?
The Mummy, the fucking.
I didn't see it. After the first one, I was done with The Mummy.
This was a remake that they just did not too long ago.
A remake of that one that they made like 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah. Well, they're remaking.
They're already remaking it?
Do you know they're remaking Pet Sematary? It's already done. The trailer's out. And they've also got Chucky.
With that one, with the CGI and everything, I mean, they could probably do a lot more with it, I would imagine.
I feel like that movie's good. Like, it's a good classic that doesn't need to be tampered with. But saying that, there's going to be a new Chucky movie, a new, what's it called? Child's Play.
Oh, okay.
But it's not going to have any of the original people.
It's going to be the German Shepherd, the rescue German Shepherd of Chucky? Or what's the name of it?
No, this one's going to be a brand new remake. Like, it's going to be a retelling of the story. And none of the people who created it...
just Child's Play.
Yeah, just Child's Play.
Oh, wow.
This isn't horse hockey, sir. This is Child's Play.
When was the first one? Like, was it like...
88, I believe. 88.
Okay. Yeah. That, I don't know... Where did you feel, because you're a Chucky fan, when did you feel like, or did you feel like, the direction of Chucky just kind of went astray? Was it like, what movie was it that was just kind of like, I don't like where this is going? Or
so far that hasn't happened to me.
Hasn't happened at all, not in any of the movies.
So far, every time, the only thing that I want is more.
More Chucky?
That's the only thing that disappoints me, is that like I have to wait like 3 or 4 years before the next one comes out.
It's the Bride of Chucky, just everything.
I feel like The Bride cranked it up to 11, and it's one of the craziest movies, but it fits in. Like, it doesn't ruin it. Just like people say Seed of Chucky ruined it. And it's like, no, it's always been this crazy. It's always been this crazy.
You just don't remember.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really like, the first one's super duper crazy. That's why them remaking it's a big shock. And they're not including anybody. Don Mancini's the guy who created fucking Chucky. And they're not including him. They're not including any of the actors.
So it's all...
It's all the company who owns it. I can't remember what the company... It might be Lionsgate or it might be New Line. But they are completely doing this without anybody's permission that has a say. Like, because they have the rights, they can do it.
Oh, wow.
So, because that first Child's Play movie is separate. The rights are separate from that first Child's Play movie as opposed to the rights for all the other movies. So they have the right to remake that first original movie, but not the others. So.
Oh, hopefully it's better than Straw Dogs.
Oh God, yeah, that is not. That was a
letdown. That was a flop of, I think, like Geely equivalency. From what I've heard, I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard, it was just like, oh my God, what have you done?
I want to ask you one more thing about the puppets, and then I know
the Muppets or the puppets.
The puppets. Well, Muppets or puppets. What are they identified as in the Happy Time Murders?
They're puppets.
They're puppets.
Yes.
Because Muppets is a trademark term, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a Henson film.
Yeah, Henson's Kids.
But they call them puppets. The puppets, and then there's humans.
Yeah.
Like that's
because the term Muppets is copyright.
Yeah, but like that's how they identify them. They almost are identifying them as like a species.
Okay, so there's no.
Like there's humans, and then there's puppets. So. They're fighting for puppets' rights, and stuff like that. And
Do you feel like puppets should have rights?
well, I mean, if they're sentient beings, yeah, I think so.
And their sentience ends once you pull all the stuffing out of them? Because if I remember correctly, the plot is there's a murderer killing puppets.
Yeah. And there's ones where they rip them all to shreds, and they're dead. They do not, they were alive and kicking and having a drink in the hot tub, and then somebody comes and rips them all apart, and that's the end of that.
I guess just like a human being ripped apart. Like I said, I haven't seen
like if somebody pulls all the insides out of you, you're gonna be dead.
Yeah,
so
and their hands are gonna be filthy because they'll be like, oh, there's so much black gunk and tar in here.
Yeah, there's so much stuffing and fibers and
Is this wiring? Is
this fur? Is this feathers? What is this?
I'm fur on the inside. For the listeners who weren't around earlier, we were talking about how I may have come into existence as a
tribble.
And then developed into a...
he just came out of his hair. He was just a hairball that, grew into a Mexican. And, proceeded from that point. He grew glasses. Glasses grew out of his ears and then came and landed on his face. And, then, he dressed up in Superman costumes and,
to try to hide, to blend in.
And then... to blend in.
Yeah, I'm just a Superman. Please don't pay any attention to me. I'm just a normal, everyday Superman.
Could you imagine, if there was, a spin-off, an alternate universe where Superman was, kind of, a little, not retarded or anything, but, kind of slow. And I'm blending in. I'm just a Superman. Nothing to see here.
You're talking about Bizarro Superman. That's basically what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the exact opposite of Superman. Me am Bizarro is you am Bizarro.
Like a dunce.
Yeah, that's exactly what he is, and he comes from a squared universe where the planets are fucking squares, and
oh god,
yeah, everything's Bizarro. There's a Bizarro Batman, Bat-Zarro. Bat-Zarro guns down any couples that come into Crime Alley.
Oh wow,
yeah, he's the exact opposite of Batman, so he's just gunning couples down.
He went dark.
Yeah,
yeah.
That Bizarro world's awesome. There's Bizarro Lois. There's Bizarro everybody. It's great.
Darker than the Dark Knight. How does he do it?
How can he see? Well,
he's just blind and he relies on echolocation.
That's sonar and echolocation.
Oh, speaking of which, I went to that ice machine class not long ago, and apparently there some ice machines, they just have this wall inside the ice machine
of shame
that water flows over and it freezes to this wall. It looks like ice cube. It looks like a big grid of an ice cube tray. And essentially what happens is the water flows over it and it freezes. The water freezes to that, right? Well, there is a thickness probe that sits parallel to it, and before it was just a special little piece of metal that once the ice got thick enough, because it would build and it would get thicker, and once it got thick enough and actually touched the probe, then it would be time to what they would call harvest, and it would heat up the plate and then drop the ice down into the bin. Well, now, instead of it just being a little special piece of metal, they actually use a tiny little microphone in there.
What?
Yes. And the microphone, it senses the difference, because they have some new electrical engineer working up there, and he's done all kinds of really cool stuff. You can see everything that's going on in the machine in real time.
What is it,
right there
see-through?
No, in real time. Say for example, you can look at the temperature of the saturation line and see what it is right then.
So it's
down to the 10th of a degree.
Wow. On what kind of display? What's your
touchscreen?
Oh, that's great.
It's like a smartphone almost.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's the new generation of
the next generation. You might say?
Well, they actually call it the Indigo Next. Oh wow. Yes, that's the name of the interface. But anyways, this little deal.
This little deal of mine
it's a microphone, and it senses I believe it's the number of hertz. that's being put out, and it's relative, whether it's in a quiet room like this, or if it's in a loud factory, where there's just all kinds of background noise. But there is a difference between, like, say for example, like you say hello, and then you put your hand on your ear, your hand, and plug your ears, and you say hello. It's quite a different tone.
Yes.
Well, it would be this, or like, if you were to say something underwater, it's quite a different tone. So they use
something underwater.
And that's what tells it to harvest.
And that's how you make a baby. No.
Yeah.
So
anybody can make ice, but not everybody can harvest.
Okay, so it's a microphone that's like, why is it able to do that? Like, what is the...
It just senses the differential. Like,
but, I mean, is it the sound? Is it the microphone triggering a sound? Like, once it hears a sound, the sound is what activates it?
No. And, like, you speaking around it isn't really going to change it, because it's
So me yelling activate at it isn't going to...
Yeah, no.
Stop doing that.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Like, you're embarrassing the refrigeration technicians that are with you.
I also do not work there and should not be there, but insist upon yelling activate into it. No, but that's what's got me puzzled, and I wanted to...
The way it was explained to me, because it got me puzzled, too.
I'm puzzled, sir.
And essentially... there is it's like a frequency. It's a frequency is what it's looking for. The frequency at which it gets that it's when it's looking at the plate. There's there's just a noise level frequency.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's similar to like it's the difference between the city mouse and the country mouse. Like somebody who lives in the city is used to in a regular city is
that is the story of the Prince and the Pauper, right?
No, the regular size
really, it's not.
No,
I thought the city mouse.
City mouse and the country mouse is a little different.
And the Prince and the Pauper.
I think it's different.
There's two boys look alike.
Yeah, but one lives in the city, one lives in the country.
One's a prince, the other one's a poor kid.
No, that's different. Okay. City mouse and country mouse is different. Somebody who lives in the city and somebody who lives out in the country. Okay, somebody who lives in the city, they grow up and their body and their biorhythm is used to a certain background noise level.
Oh yeah, we've had this.
And when you go out into the country,
you blow your brains out because you miss that.
Yeah, like it's too fucking quiet. And then people who live out in the country and then they come live in the city, it's too noisy and it makes them uncomfortable.
Okay, so
and then this looks for that frequency, and then when it gets to and then it'll make a quick jump. Like it'll jump like it's relative, it could be at
it'll jump your aunt or your cousin. It'll jump any of your relatives.
If it's real quiet, it'll be like 160, and then all of a sudden it'll jump to like over 30,000. When it gets to a certain thickness.
The thickness.
Yeah, because the water gets and the ice gets close enough to the thickness probe, so it jumps frequency. It doesn't actually touch it, but it gets ever so close enough to it to where it's like...
It hears it getting close?
Essentially, yes.
I hear you.
Yeah, exactly.
That is unique. I've never heard of anything like that.
I never heard of that either, but that's what these new ice machines have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hear that, listeners? Fucking...
Listen for the ice getting close.
That blew my mind, sir. I have to say, I have never heard of that. Nor would I, like I said, my beginnings of understandings of how sound works, I would automatically assume it would be a trigger.
And it makes...
But I guess it's just an electric sensor.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
But it's think about what more sensitive of a sensor would you have than a microphone. It's the most sensitive that I can, like...
Well, I mean, a visual sensor is pretty
a laser
sensitive, too. A visual sensor is very sensitive, too.
But would it be as effective as...
It depends on how you apply it. It's all in the application.
Sounds like this one's pretty good.
Yeah. They're pretty impressed with it, and it's nice because before with the old probe, piece of metal or whatever,
you had to wipe the poop off it.
Yeah, well, it gets calcium and calcified because it actually has to touch it. Now with this one, it don't gotta touch it, so it doesn't get dirty. Not really.
Well,
You
I
know?
mean, yeah, I'm sure that
I mean, over a long period of time, yeah.
probably gets a little dusty, but other than that, there's nothing touching it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's cool.
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
I thought that was fascinating.
That's a little bit of science there, or I guess modern technology.
Both.
Both.
Really.
It's not black magic, as Paul F. Tompkins said. It's white science.
Oh God. Like, I really think that in some ways, technological advances are
Better than people.
They make very excellent
Bedfellows.
excellent advances in saving energy. The energy councils and the EPA are up these companies' asses to save energy. You know, and sometimes it's simple as just reshaping the way the copper runs back and forth. You know, like sometimes just by changing the shape, the engineers figured out that we can get whatever amount of efficiency out of it. Saving energy. And we don't. It takes less work to do the same job. That's the
always
whole
a good
idea.
thing, yeah.
There's actually this other thing called the ice bear, and that is an AC unit.
I know what a bear is.
And an AC unit that essentially what it does is while it's cooling, it freezes the coils, like this whole section, into an ice block. And then that's at night, and then during the day, it uses that ice to cool the evaporator and then blow air across it. So essentially, it's storing cooling by making ice when it's running electronically and mechanically, and then after that, it just uses the cool water running through the ice to run across the coil and then remove the heat from the air. Yeah. So it's almost like similar to an electric car theory, to where if you're not using the gas to move forward, you're charging the battery.
Yeah.
It's similar to that, and essentially the idea is that when this comes here to San Antonio, when it comes, it is going to be something that will be controlled by the energy company. And once it's installed, the energy company will be responsible for maintaining it.
What are your thoughts on them?
I think that's a bad idea.
Nah, I agree.
I think that is essentially giving them too much power. They already have a lot of power. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. That doesn't seem fair.
No.
Like, that,
it does not.
That does not seem fair. It almost seems like they're getting it by default.
Yes. Like, once they...
I do not like that. Sir, you've piqued my interest now. What are you doing to me?
I don't know. It is very interesting.
It is, because
that is just the working idea. They don't know how they're going to implement it yet. This is still in the prototype stage. This is not like...
But it's a prototype that works.
It's a prototype that works.
Yeah, so that's the key thing.
But, I mean, they've made prototypes on...
they had a fucking aqua car back in the fucking 50s.
Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things, will it ever come out? We don't know.
What are your thoughts? Do you think this is something that'll...
I think it'll definitely come out in Europe before it comes out in the United States. In Europe, they are actually getting away from using Freon, and
because it's so dangerous.
It's
because
it's bad for the
environment.
Environment, incredibly bad for the environment. Whether or not it depletes the ozone or not, refrigerant it's a poisonous gas.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's not nitrogen, it's not oxygen, it's not carbon dioxide.
It's Freon.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
But now they're using propane. Like, all their restaurant equipment is going to just plain propane. It's very low pressures, very highly efficient. that's where it's going, man.
But isn't it dangerous to have propane?
Low pressures.
On the
really.
combustible factor, though, because Freon...
Yeah, when it's only got, 16 ounces in the whole system, and when it's that low of pressure and it leaks out, it'll be depleted and it'll be like a fart in the wind. It's not very much at all. It's not like a leak in gas line. Although
That's it.
Although propane is more flammable than natural gas and burns hotter and faster.
But propane also has, because natural gas, they have to add something to it for us to fucking smell it, right?
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
But propane, doesn't that one naturally have a...
Yeah, you can smell it.
Yeah,
naturally.
So I was trying to remember if that was right.
As far as I know, they don't have to add anything propane.
But I do know that natural gas, like...
Yeah, they add the funk.
They have to, because if not...
Yeah, you could... Yeah, you blow up. Somebody would blow up every other day.
That's crazy. Carbon monoxide...
is non-detectable. But that's not natural gas.
No, carbon monoxide... That's the fire...
it's a byproduct of fire.
Yes, no, I know. But they have smoke detectors, and then they have the carbon monoxide detectors.
Yes.
And you just said they weren't? It's not detectable?
No, we can't smell it.
Oh, yeah, but the machine can.
Yeah, the machine can detect it. Even though we can't smell it because it's odorless. It's a colorless, odorless, tasteless substance that can be just floating around, and that's why when I was at the river, I couldn't understand why this lady came from, like, I don't know, down the river and
that bitch
asked me to put my cigarette out because her kid had asthma, and I told her okay, and she walked away.
2 cigarettes later.
Yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, if your child has ever been to the city, chances are you live in the city.
Chances are you have a car.
Yeah, and you have a car. You have exposed your child to far more asthma attack-inducing substances than I ever will, especially since he is way over there and I'm way over here.
And he's also smoking.
It's almost like I farted. Yeah, it's like I farted and you just came over to here to tell me that...
To shut my asshole?
That you can smell it? Like, grow up. Like, what is wrong with you?
And that's the tooth. People, if you see somebody smoking...
Nail. This has been the tooth and the nail.
The tooth and the nail. Thank you so much for listening to the Adrian Lozano Show. I hope you got informed in this. I got informed and a little bit curious on something that might have to do with this city that we're living in, that was built on rock and roll. My co-host here, Mr. Bilderbeck, would you care to share any last words of wisdom with the audience before you let them go in this warm embrace called the Adrian Lozano Show?
Vote. Or don't vote, either way. I personally will. Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Either way, have a happy Halloween, and I hope that you either party or just relax, have a good time, and I'm really excited about the holidays. We're gonna start. They're starting to roll on in, and Halloween is the first one, and I think it's gonna be awesome.
Do you like Halloween more or Christmas more?
I like Christmas more, but Halloween is a second favorite.
I've always liked Halloween more, but you can't argue with presents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's something about the scary factor, and you can only see certain movies. You can only get certain movies at this time of year. You can only get certain things.
The other thing that I like is that around Halloween time is the weather. Like, it's not too cold, it's not too hot, most of the time, it's pleasant. It's pleasant, it's cool at night, which kind of, to me, a cool night is more eerie than a cold night, in my opinion. When it's just cool, it's like 58 degrees.
And it's dry, like it's not wet outside, it's just cool, and you're like,
anything can happen. That's what it makes me feel like. which is a good thing.
You made it sound like a scary thing. Anything can happen, which is a good thing. Happy Halloween.
8-drop soup.
That's just for all you folks out there.
You are listening to The Adrian Lozano Show. Never has there been a show more jam-packed with hilarious commentary, side-splitting jokes, dead on impressions and voices and what have you.
If that wasn't educational to you, then you don't know spittle about jizzle, about fiddle, about coodle, about poodle, about noodle, about strudel. Come on, man. That was good shit. And now... It's time for hip-hop news and hip-hop lessons with Dr. Mr. Bilderbeck.
Type beard thing.
Who,
Eminem.
Oh, I guess that's what we're talking about. I know of him. I like some of his songs, but I'm not up to date with him. Like, I don't follow him on Instagram.
He's actually, like, starting to, because there was a period, I think in, like the late, like, around 2008, like, close, and until, like, 2010 to 11, where it just seemed like his stuff was just going downhill. Like, he did a couple of like when he did Relapse, that was one album, like, I listened to it and I don't know, it just didn't have the je ne sais quoi, like, it just didn't have that
Have you been a fan of his from the beginning?
Yeah, I was a fan of his from the beginning, from the Shady LP on.
Yeah.
All the way to Encore. Encore.
I liked him in the Chronic. When I got the
that was a good one.
When I got that album, I liked him and what he was doing. And I liked the stuff that he did with D12. But like I said, I never went and
these blue and yellow, purple.
Yeah. I never pursued. Like, I like Stan. That's a great song. I think Stan.
I liked some of the stuff he did with D12. But I always liked the stuff that he did solo more because it was him. It was all him. Like,
I'll give him that he's impressive with his freestyle skills. He's very impressive.
He has gotten. He's actually was on a Tech 9 track called Speed 'Em, and he.
Didn't you?
What?
Didn't you play that?
I don't know if you've heard it. But he raps and to hear Tech 9 intellectually break down the way he raps in that song, like, it's almost like talking about notes. How you can, you have a whole note, and then you have a half note, then you have a quarter note, then you have an eighth note and a 16th note, and apparently Eminem he's able to rap, like, in between those spaces, like, and, like,
singing,
hop back and forth, not inward singing.
It sounds even better when I'm singing it.
But he, I don't know, technically he has gotten more impressive with age.
Oh, wow.
His technical skills, like some of his latest stuff. He just did one. He was he was the musical guest on Jimmy Kimmel, and he performed live from the top of the Empire State Building.
Dancing on a flagpole?
Not dancing on a flagpole, but he was, doing.
Charleston.
It was almost like he was doing like a hip hop video. It's just him and a camera guy up there. Going kind of around the top, and it's really cool.
Wow.
And
sounds scary as fuck.
Recently, there's also this other rapper whose name is Machine Gun Kelly. I don't know if you've ever heard
about this beef.
Yeah, he has beef.
Have you side of beef?
Have you heard the Machine Gun Kelly, he did a song, and the whole song is just a diss with a music video about Eminem. Like, he's dissing Eminem the whole entire song.
Do they, what reason would he have to do that?
I believe that supposedly the beef started way back when, I think it was in 2012. Supposedly, this is just as the story goes. From what I've been able to gather from it.
This segment's called Hip Hop News.
I think, yeah, right. Like I'm an authority or something. Not really.
Actually, he listens to more hip hop and rap than I do, and I would say I have a pretty extensive rap collection myself. Not to boast, but I definitely am overshadowed by your knowledge of rap.
I think that he originally tweeted something about Eminem's daughter being hot.
Oh,
and yeah, back in like 2012. So I guess she was like young, like 16 back then. And
that's not.
And
yeah, that's fucked up.
And supposedly that just laid dormant. Like Eminem didn't really say anything about it. And then I think MGK came back a couple of years later. I think in 20.
Hey, I still think your daughter's hot.
It was like, I want to say it was 2017.
I heard it the first time.
He was on a Tech Nine song, and he kind of tongue in cheek blasted Eminem, and basically saying that.
Wait. So Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem have both done songs with Tech Nine?
Yes, they both have.
Ooh.
And like it's
and
nothing
he remains
to do with
neutral.
Yeah, Tech Nine has nothing to do with it.
He's
because
like, I don't
the way they
give a fuck about these white people.
Well, Tech Nine is basically like, if you're on my track and you do justice to the song and you bring a good rap, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna censor you, and I think that, and I don't think, and it was a very, like I said, it was very tongue in cheek. It wasn't like, yo, Blondie rapper, or like something that was very easy to identify. Like the layman couldn't identify that. Oh, he's talking about Eminem.
Hey,
like, he would have to,
8 Mile.
Yeah, exactly. He would have to say something more definitive for it.
And his name rhymes with Marshall.
Yeah, yeah, but he,
I wonder what it is.
It started with that, and then I think Eminem said something, and then MGK came out with this song. It's called Rap Devil, and I wanna get your reaction to it and see.
Oh shit!
And see what you think about it.
Oh wow!
And we will be right back after we check this out.
So I just heard
Machine Gun Kelly do Rap Devil, which is the diss that which is part of a beef between MGK and Eminem that people have been talking about recently.
Subtle.
What did you think of the
subtle? Very subtle.
The rap itself? You don't think it was kind of in your face?
Oh no, he was very discreet. He was. No, are you kidding me? Like that was. That was. It was catchy. It was cute. In the sense.
Cute.
Yeah, it was very cute in the sense that his hooks were. Like the hooks were.
Because when I think of cute, I think of
the
like,
hooks were insults.
Uh-huh.
I'm seeing those sweatsuits. Let's talk about it. Like it seemed very. That's very cute. That's very. That's
because when you tell a man that something that he does is cute, it's kind of you're knocking him down a notch. Like that's.
Oh yeah, no, I'm aware. That is
okay.
Yeah, no. This dude's also coming at it from a young man's perspective. He's a young dude, so if anything, I think he was trying to be funny with those cute segments of I'm sick of you being rich and you're still mad. Let's talk about it. Like, I feel like that's him trying to be funny, and I think that's cute because that's I guess a gangster rapper's way of doing a joke. Because there are people that laugh. Like, I laughed when I heard when I heard the riff the first time.
Yeah,
I laughed. Like, you heard me.
Yeah,
But
it's funny.
It's the fact that
there's a lot of moments. I felt like there was a lot of moments where it was whether you want to laugh or you kind of go, oh, that was like it was a good hit. How did you feel about that?
I thought that.
Do you think that it was do you think it was a good diss overall?
I feel like it would be effective. I feel like it's a great, like, it's well executed. It's well executed, and I feel like it is a good diss in the sense that, like you were saying, what did you say the average person wouldn't know?
Well, there were in Tech Nine where he disses Eminem in one of Tech Nine's songs. It's like
that one's the subtle one.
Yeah, it's a very short, like it's only like a couple of lines.
That isn't referred to in the song, though. There's other incidents that we're unfamiliar with.
No, most of the stuff you hear in the song is stuff
sounds like personal shit.
Well, and it's like common knowledge. Or if you know anything about the rap game, it's
which is you and not me.
It's common knowledge in the rap game, like the stuff.
The rapper Common.
Yeah, they're talking about. Like he talks about Interscope. He talks about Shay 45.
Yeah, he talks about Diddy and Jimmy and I did all this without Dre and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. But most of it is stuff that you've heard before. The fact that he did a track with Rihanna. The fact that he's
46 years old and can't stand up.
He's old and he runs a lot. He was on a treadmill. Same last time he saw 8 Mile was on treadmill. That kind of thing. And
yeah, it's like it'd be different if it was like the whole video is just like him like executing like shady impersonators or whatever. Like then I'd feel like like, do you remember when gangster rap used to be more on the nose and it's like, I see you again, I'm gonna kill you and your family? Like,
yeah.
Do you remember Ice Cube having a rock band called Cop Killer and fucking?
Yeah, that was more violent. This wasn't violent.
No, and I guess that's why I think it's cute. That's it right there. That's why I think it's cute. I grew up listening to Spice One. If you don't know about Spice One, you need to fucking check Spice One out. Watch Tales from the fucking Hood. You will fucking see that. I mean,
blow him brains out.
Yeah, I'm coming from that. So to me, that's real intense versus like
tongue in cheek.
Tongue in cheek. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute.
Wow.
Yeah, but MGK ain't no Spice One, So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
But it was very entertaining. Very entertaining. Very like I could see Eminem getting upset, and I wonder if it's true. He tried to get this dude shelved.
Maybe, yeah.
So what's his rebuttal to this? Is that the most current of the beefs, or is there a rebuttal?
Eminem. I think he took about 2 weeks, week and a half, something like that.
He read another dictionary.
Rebuttal. Well, I gotta say that. I mean, we all know that Eminem's a great lyricist. I don't think anybody can deny that. And I want to. I'll show you his rebuttal, and
I would like
you can hear that now.
I got one thing to say. It's very obvious who the superior rapper is. I mean, without a doubt, 100%. It is not MGK. Yeah. Although he's catchy and, like I said, very cute, I feel like Marshall's more... That's precision. That's surgical precision right there. Like that, the kill shot, what we just heard, or what I just heard for the first time, sounded more like, no, fuck you. You know, like.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was the whole point.
But it felt like this guy didn't have to get angry. Like, he's got the right tempo about being. Like, it seemed like Machine Gun Kelly was upset.
Yeah, he was.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
And Eminem, in an interview with Shay, I think it's Shay 45, he says,
not Shay 46.
Yeah, he says,
he's like, white people today, am I right?
no, he was more like, he was talking about MGK, and Shay 45 asks him, so what did you think of Rap Devil? Just flat out, and Eminem goes, it's pretty good for him.
For him?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, there's so many rappers out there, and there's so many that, basically he said that there's so many rappers out there that are better than him, like this is barely on my radar. And he...
Like white rappers or just rappers?
Rappers. And he was
basically... It doesn't matter with rappers?
Not
it shouldn't.
No, it's all about it's all about skill, man. When you're a rapper, it's all about skill, you know.
Somebody, I can't remember who right now, but somebody was discussing the fight between Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, and they said it wasn't finesse, it was what was it that you said wins the fight? I said skill. You said something else.
I can't remember the word that I used.
Well, our listeners are screaming it at us right now. But you're right. It is skill. It's ultimately skill. And I feel like I still stand by what I said. One was cute and the other one was very well executed, like precision of somebody who knows the craft. I mean, the beat even changed when you thought he was getting upset, but then he just caught himself, and then he changed the subject.
Well, Eminem is obviously more seasoned. He's in his 40s,
45,
and he's been doing rap
from behind
for over 20 years now, and he's very talented, and he had an interesting temperament.
Like I said,
he's basically like, okay, if you're gonna come all the way up here to say that, I'll just flick you back down.
It seemed like a few lines really resonated with you with the, I had to give you a career to take it away from you, or I had to give you a career to destroy it. I'm gonna turn you from a mountain into a molehill. From a molehill into a mountain.
Yeah, you're a molehill, and I'm gonna make a mountain out of you.
That's correct. Thank you.
And I think that that was basically his way.
I'm still going over.
I see that as his way of saying, I really didn't want to respond to you, but I felt like
you wanted me to.
So I felt like not only that, but I mean, as you can see, the video is well produced. It looks very professional, and
I'm sorry.
A lot
the kill shot video?
No. The
kill shot video was no video.
The MGK video.
Oh yeah,
and it was hitting. I think it caught a lot of people's attention, and it was basically like, oh, this dude just threw down the gauntlet to Eminem, and Eminem, I think he, in my opinion, it seems like he felt like he needed to respond. Not only because it was popping up on people's radar, and like, hey, you're being flat out challenged here, and a lot of people have heard about it. You need to say something. And I think, but at the same time, Eminem didn't want to make him bigger and more popular by getting involved.
That's truthfully all this is going to equivocate to. Remember when Limp Bizkit wanted to fight Creed? It was like,
oh, jeez.
It's like, what's this ultimately going to lead to?
I swear the song is not about Jesus,
But Jesus loves you
anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah. What if he doesn't love me anymore? I'm gonna do some more drugs and get scared.
I like
But
a few Creed songs.
But yeah, I like a couple of them. But
they're very well done.
I think My Sacrifice.
But as a whole,
I liked Alter Bridge a lot better. It's basically Creed without Scott Stapp.
yeah, but I felt like because Scott,
The singer.
yeah, no, I know who he is. I liked his contributions to it. You know,
I thought he was good, but I just personally, liked Alter Bridge better.
right on. I didn't go that far.
Really?
I went to Creed and that was it, and then I was good.
Oh, okay.
I
I think that Eminem really really had to respond, and it wasn't just that.
So what's the next step? Did MGK do a?
MGK actually did an interview, I think with the Breakfast Club morning show, and that's what they call it. And yeah,
Have you ever seen that movie?
yeah, I've seen the movie.
Oh shit!
It's nothing
for you listeners.
nothing like that.
For you listeners, my arm just
Fist-
shot up.
Fist in the air.
I was
Yeah.
fisting the air.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think that MGK wants to respond.
I think it would be foolish to take it further.
I think so too.
I think that's.
And you can tell, MGK basically is saying, he even says at one point, I had something for him, and then I think his quote was, he called me a mumble rapper, and then I just put it back in the holster. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but to me it sounds like he feels like he's outgunned. No pun intended.
Maybe he's man enough to admit that.
Yeah, he's better.
That he's got bested. Because
that's what a smart man does.
Well, he could have somebody smart advising him. So.
Yeah.
I mean, yes,
smart men take good wisdom. I think that I really think that if he were to come out with another one,
then that's flogging a dead horse.
like Rap Devil.
There's Rap Devil 2, the sequel.
Yeah,
I'm even more Rap Devil here.
I think that it would just be like, okay, now you're just trying too hard.
Like engine number 9.
Yeah,
oh, wait, no,
it's just like like I said, you're just trying too hard, and Eminem's gonna be like, really, guy, like you're really coming up here again, It's a long way up here, and it's a long way down.
I don't feel like, I feel like
it's not in his it's definitely not in his best interest to.
Yeah, because I guarantee you, Eminem's not gonna bring it up again.
I think the line that, if I were MGK, I think the line that would hurt me the most was this is your moment.
Oh, is this oatmeal or cereal?
No.
That's the line that hurt me the most.
This is your moment. This is as big as you're gonna get, so enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is, and that was his.
The sad thing, if that's true.
That's probably the truth.
Yeah.
You remember the only reason he came up on the radar, for a lot of people, was because he dissed Eminem, and Eminem responded.
I knew about him beforehand. He's been around for a few years.
I knew about him before, but I'm talking about the average fan, the average Joe,
I am in the abnormal Joe category for somebody who listens to a lot of old rap, but doesn't listen to a lot of modern rap.
Friends. How many of us have them? Let's be friends.
Ones we can depend on. Meow, meow, meow.
Look in the dictionary. It'll tell you. Dad doesn't know the meaning of friends.
Right. Webster's dictionary defines friends as a gathering of people who like, interested. No.
Yeah, we clearly are not rappers.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
And not any less.
No, but
shit.
But yeah.
Okay, so that was crazy. So that's what's going on in the hip hop world today
with MGK and Eminem.
Right on.
Yeah. I think and Eminem, like
I found this informative.
I'm actually excited to hear his Kamikaze album. I've heard a couple of tracks.
Do you have it yet?
There.
Is it?
No, I don't have it yet. But,
is it already out though?
Oh yeah, it's out.
Okay.
I really want to get a digital copy of it, and because I've heard a couple of tracks on there, and they're pretty good. It's more I don't know, it's just got more I think it's just a higher quality of songs that he has on there from what I've heard than his last LP. You know, in my opinion, I don't know off the top of my head. I know he's got at least 6.
Okay. If I was gonna guess, I'd say 4. Because I don't know. I probably can only name 4.
He's got the Slim Shady LP.
Yeah.
He's got the
8 Mile soundtrack.
Well, that's different. But he's got.
I'm giving it to him. He can have it for free.
The Marshall Mathers LP.
Marshall Mick Mathers.
He's got the Eminem Show. He's got Encore. So that's 5, right?
Okay.
And
that's 5 because we gave him the
yeah. And then there's he has Relapse, and then he has
6.
Recovery,
7.
and then he's got this latest one, Kamikaze. Yeah,
So that's 8 albums.
Yeah,
That's
7 or 8, you know, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. That's still fucking.
Yeah, he's got it, and those albums, like on an Eminem album, like it's 90 to 95% him. Like he doesn't have a lot of guest stars on his albums.
He'll have
remember
maybe
a couple, you know.
He's more likely to guest star on other people's stuff than he is to have guest stars.
Yeah. He doesn't collaborate very much.
Yeah, that's
one
thing.
Even Rihanna said that she was really excited to be able to work with.
Well,
Eminem.
like that Dido chick, Dio.
Yeah,
Dio's the rocker.
Yeah,
Dio has
Dido.
rocked. Yeah, I loved her voice. I love that song.
Stan.
Well,
that was sampled from
her original song. Yeah, and I like that song too.
Yeah, that's a really good song.
Yeah, so that was something that I got turned on to immediately. That I became infatuated with. I was like, oh, this singer's amazing. If it wasn't for Eminem, I would have never found out about this singer.
Yeah,
because I was like,
and it was probably one of those things. Eminem really liked her, and ended up helping her out.
That bastard.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, if you're listening,
it was well done.
Please don't rap about me unless you want to. Then do whatever you want, bro.
Clearly he's not even remote. We're not even remotely close to his radar.
Yeah.
I feel like Eminem is like Prince. He just lives and breathes.
He's got like a vault full of fucking hard drives
of rap.
Yeah, I believe it. I think any rapper who's got a fucking brain is doing that. I think he's
and I think Eminem he's I've heard him say in an interview like he can't really turn it off, the rhyming and the putting putting lyrics and like thoughts together. He's a word man, and he can't turn it off. Like all day long he's thinking of little stuff in the back. It's like his background chatter, and in his head, and
not in the rap sense, in the visual sense. I can't watch something without counting the cuts and the angles, and like I can't look at anything without taking it apart like that. Like the way I guess the surgeon can't look at a fucking wound without piecing it back together.
Or a musician like saying how many bars this lasts, and
how many bars do I got to take to get on stage?
I don't know, just enough to fall down. That's all I want. Just enough to fall down. Backwards into the drums, preferably.
Wasn't that his thing? Didn't he take pills? Wasn't he a pill taker?
Yeah.
Eminem?
Yep. He loved prescription drugs.
I mean, I'm not knocking the guy.
Well, that was his addiction.
Yeah, but I was just
he talks about it. Because he loved Vicodin, and I think based on little things
Vicodin loved him.
But yeah, based on little things that I heard, like if he was a pill popper like that, and I'm pretty sure it got to the point to where it gave him ulcers. Because eventually that's exactly what it's going to do. Because if you're taking Vicodin, most of it's cut with acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, and when you're taking 10 pills a day of that shit, like on the regular, plus if you binge, like you're just that is
internal damage.
The internal damage is quite extensive. And I imagine, and I think that's why he got heavier at one point. From what I hear, is that he would eat, because when you have ulcers, it feels better when you eat, because you're covering up the ulcer.
Yeah, and cool, like they give you ice cream, shit like that, like it's
and so I'd imagine that, and then after he stopped, doing the whole eating thing, he started running. And started getting
made fun of.
Well, by mumble rappers. But yeah, that's a term. Mumble rap is kind of a subgenre now, and
what?
No, yeah, that's a real thing.
Okay, I believe earlier in the show, you had asked me if a certain porn was a thing, and I was like, yes. Even though I don't know, I know because a friend told me.
What kind of porn was that?
I can't remember now, but you were like, that's a thing, and I was like, yeah, it's a thing. And then now I'm like, mumble rapping, that's a thing, and you're like, yeah, it's a thing. I'm like,
yeah, it is a thing.
The horse is on the other foot, or the shoe is on the other table.
Yeah, and
the table has turned to horse.
But it's also used like as a slur, like to rappers that consider themselves more technical and proficient. And
who can enunciate.
Yes, exactly.
And pronounce.
And take pride in their rap.
I feel like that's got to be very.
That was a pretty.
It's got to be insulting if you really are trying your hardest to be clear and audible.
Yeah, and
they're like, "What'd you say?"
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Mr. Mumbles. Hey, Mr. Mumbles.
Oh, from Dick Tracy. Mumble. I think it was Dennis Hoffman, or the hell's his name?
Dustin
Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman. You were close. You were blurring too.
I was gonna say Dennis Hopper, but I knew that wasn't right.
What are these? Yeah, he's Dennis Hopper is a badass, but no, you're thinking of Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah,
and
he plays Mumbles.
He was Mumbles. Big boy did it.
Yeah.
There was a episode of Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction where they were making fun of a deaf janitor, these kids, and they, I know, it's that bad. You're like, this guy's talking about that now? I gotta get out of here.
Kids these days?
It was kids in the 90s, and,
hey, I was a kid in the 90s.
Yeah, so was I. So, these kids in the 90s were making fun of this janitor who was deaf and calling him Mr. Mumbles. Hey, Mr. Mumbles! And it was real fucked up. I was like, what are these kids doing? What, like,
you guys are assholes.
It stuck with me. I was like, yeah, Mr. Mumbles. Mr. Mumbles. Okay. Like, and now everybody's favorite rapper, Mr. Mumbles.
Like, and there's
guys, he's deaf. That's rude.
Yeah, like there's even a rapper, I can't remember his name right now, but he actually prides himself on that. Like he'll
nobody understands me.
Yeah, basically, like he'll kind of. Sometimes, like, he'll just mumble something and make it, like, sound like it rhymes or something.
Like that Batman on drugs song?
Something like that. And I really... it's almost like you can't... It's like, I can't believe that this...
It's not butter? No.
I can't believe that, like, this is actually on the charts. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of thing. And
there's a lot of shit on the charts. That's why I don't listen to the radio.
And the auto-tune. That was the other thing that he hit him on.
A lot of people use it, dude.
Yeah, but I don't really like it. I know Kanye West likes to use it. And a lot of other rappers do too, but I don't know. I think that, I think it's lame. It's like, if you're a lyricist / I guess, singer.
If you're a lyricist / I guess, singer, listen up.
I imagine that, your job is to use your lyrics and your voice, and not so much using the
penis.
Yeah, a computer to do something for you. Like,
ooh, wow.
Yeah, do it yourself, man.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's supposed to be all about you. All eyes on me.
I'm so glad he's talking to all you singers and lyricists because I can't draw. I couldn't draw my way out of a paper bag. I couldn't.
Yeah,
And,
I don't know how many lyricists can draw, but
well, I do fancy myself a lyricist, and I have a terrible voice. But you get to listen to it all the time when you're listening to this show.
Which is over now. I hope you enjoyed it. I think the beef is over. I think that's.
I think we know who the victor was.
Yeah, I don't think there's not too many people that can out lyricize Eminem. You know, he's a badass, and I'm looking forward to listening to his album. I'm Chris. This is my homie Adrian. It's been good talking to you guys.
You guys enjoy the rest of whatever it was you were doing. Hopefully you enjoyed this show, and if not, well, I don't really care. But if you did enjoy it, then I would like to hear from you. You can send me a dirty message, maybe even a little garbled, I don't mind, to the Adrian Lozano Show at gmail.com. You can also hit me up on the gram at Adrian Marcus with a K, Lozano, not all one word, as well as at Marcus Lozano, Marcus again with a K, on the Twitter. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of whatever it is you are doing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you learned a lot about beef. Sides of beef, beef on rye, machine gun beef, and of course Kelly beef, which I hope is not a real place and they think that I'm talking about them. I'm just doing the word association thing that I do whenever I close my eyes and open my mouth hole. Anyway, so everybody's talking about the way the beef was. Okay, so I hope you learned a valuable lesson. Did I make a crucial mistake? Yes, I did. Not only did I mix up the band with the song, but I gave it to a different artist. I'm talking, of course, about the band Body Count and the song Cop Killer. And Ice-T, the very special victims unit Ice-T. And again, I don't know if that's his... I mean, maybe he's got a special victims unit. Let's just, you have to ask his wife. Then she would tell you about his unit. Other than that, I don't know. I just know that he's a detective, on that show where you've got the dun 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 dun. Wow. The Law and the Order. There's always something else, Law and Order, delicious and scrumptious or whatever it is. Law and Order. S&M or whatever it is. He's in that show. He's either with D'Onofrio or he's not with D'Onofrio, or he looks at D'Onofrio and D'Onofrio looks away. Whatever. I like his kingpin. Not Ice-T's kingpin. Although if Ice-T was the kingpin, let's just be honest. He's no D'Onofrio. But anyway, whatever. They're both cops. And to all you cops out there that like D'Onofrio and Ice-T, good on you. Now, there is a song called Cop Killer, and there is a band called Body Count, and Ice Cube has nothing to do with either one of the two. Just want to make sure you guys know that I know that. I misspoke. Spent most of the day drinking that day, and then when my friend caught up with me, I was trying my best to be upbeat because he cheered me up. Every now and then I get a little low and tend to freak people out and they run away, or whatever. And it's something that I'm working on. But when you're down, and you got to just try your best to pick yourself up. But it's a lot easier said than done. And a good friend can do that, really turn it around from behind, as friends do, Only a real friend can turn you around from behind in a good way. This message brought to you by drugs. Okay, so I'm feeling better. This is the highlight of my day doing this podcast. As sick and as silly as that sounds, it feels good to do this. It really does. So thank you again for listening. I really can't thank you enough for listening. I mean it genuinely. It's not just a throwaway phrase like "I love you" or "You're important to me." It's not those, or what did Homer say? Ramalama ding dong, or give peace a chance. It doesn't mean anything. But I really do mean it. Thank you so much for listening, and just keep on listening. And if you can get other people to listen, if you need a gun, here's where you can find a gun to get people to listen. Call 1-900-I-NEED-A-GUN, or I believe it's Anita Gun. Look, if you have to use a gun to get people to listen, they obviously don't want to listen. They won't remember the show. But if you can successfully get somebody to listen by gunpoint, then please don't do that anymore. They either want to listen or they don't. Don't force anybody. Don't be that guy or girl. It's 2018. There could be a girl out there forcing people to listen to podcasts at gunpoint. I doubt it highly, but there could be. And if it's this one, sweetheart, you're doing great, but you don't have to. You really don't have to. Don't trouble yourself. You're fine. You're great. You listening is enough. And if they don't want to listen, fuck them. Fuck them. Well, you don't have to fuck them, but forget about them. Do the old New York. According to Australia, that's what they say in New York. Forget about them. So there you go. Thank you again from the bottom of my crotch and the top of my heart. Or flip those around. Yeah, flip them around. All right, I waited for it, then I did it myself mentally, and I was like, oh, why did you do that to the listener? Because I love you, listener. Didn't you just say a few seconds ago that I love you is one of those throwaway phrases? Yeah, but it's like, remember when Carrie Fisher, a.k.a. Princess Leia, was like, I love you, and then Harrison Ford was like, I know. That's what I was like. Oh, then saying I love you obviously isn't enough. It's one of them throwaway lines. Like, I love you. I know. I'm about to be frozen in carbonite. Could you tell me that you'll get me out? Maybe. How about that? You know what? Forget it. Just forget it. Oh, don't know why I bother with these. And that fucking Wookiee. Oh, just carbonite me already. It was that kind of day, folks. It was that kind of day. You have hibernation sickness. You're flaccid. Like, what? From the... I also can't see, but I feel like that's secondary now. How long will I be... All right, folks. He's going to get out of this trail. This snail trail of a tail of a whale. I can rap. I don't know what my friend was thinking saying I can't rap. Okay, I can't rap. I was about to, but then I didn't. What do you know? I still didn't. Oh, old school. All right. So, please, by all means, stop me if you've heard this one. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, and hopefully you get to enjoy whatever the hell it was you were doing while you were listening to me. Or maybe you finished and you're kind of sitting in your car or wherever you're at and you're like, as soon as this podcast's over, I'm going to go. And then you're like, what's this rant at the end? What is he doing? It's my Columbo. Just one more thing. Bye. I found her. Right, ho. Yeah, I found her. Just wanted to let you know. She's been found.
Okay. You know how to say make your greeting call? What I say?
Say thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
It's good eating.
What the fuck?
Tetrabodine.
What the fuck is that?
Tetrabodine. Every time they do a roadkill, good eating.
I don't know. I'm lost, you guys.
The Clampets.
I don't.
Very good
I'm
business.
not.
That's the way they talk.
I don't watch
He
that
went.
much TV.
He went to Oxford.
Because remember, he was the cousin.
Yeah.
He was
Oxford.
the girl was the
Yeah.
daughter.
The Beverly
Oxford,
what?
Beverly Hillbillies.
He said Oxford. Yeah. The banker thought, man, this guy Oxford was in second grade.
I'm tired of you listening to podcasts and now rating them 5 stars. Let's talk about it. No, we don't have to talk about it. But if you want to rate me, other than, berate me, you can do whatever it is, whatever platform this is. If there's a rating system, rate the fuck out of me. Rate me so hard that you just can't rate anybody else. Look, I'm looking for ratings, and I'm also looking for attention. Really, what matters is if you share the podcast with friends. Expose it to everyone. The podcast. Show it to your friends and your family. The podcast. Whip it out at parties. The podcast. Thank you.
Lozano.
Just one more thing. I couldn't let you go into the world without, or maybe you're not leaving the world, but going to sleep. When you're sleeping, I've always used the term dead to the world, because you're useless. You're asleep and you're useless. You're not useless. Wait, while you're sleeping, you're useless. But your body's regenerating, so it's a good thing. But again, I like the term, and I prefer to use the term dead to the world, because I don't sleep much. But when I do sleep, I sleep Dos Equis? Wait, no, that's not right. I don't sleep much, but when I do sleep, I'm a heavy sleeper. It's heavy, and I sleep in it. She wants a man that'll sleep in it. It's like, is that really what she wants? To sleep in it? Okay, I guess. Let's go to sleep in it. Alright, so, you may have heard my friend use the term skill. Well, when we were referring to that old Jason versus Michael fight, that old thing many, many years back, seems like moons ago, there was a thing that we talked about. And when we were talking about it, he said it was being nimble. And I was like, you can be nimble as fuck, and if ifs and nuts were candy and butts, you could stick one in the butt. Wait. Nimble. And I'm like, no, it's skill. And then he starts talking about rappers, and he says it's skill. And I'm like, well, yeah, but, if you've got a nimble rapper, if I had a good enough memory, I would have thrown that nimble rapper right at him, and he would have just been tackled by it. And by tackled by it, I mean he would have probably chuckled and been like, no, it's skill. My friend's got a great sense of humor. All right, thank you for listening. If you want to rate me, that's cool. You don't have to. If you want to share the podcast, that's cool, and you have to. If you want to touch yourself, feel free to do so, but only in the privacy of your own home, out of view of everyone else. It's called being considerate. That's right, folks. This message brought to you by drugs. All right, thank you for listening, and au revoir. Au revoir. I mean, guten Tag. Oh, wait, no, I mean, das Vagina. I mean, wait, no, enjoy the rest of whatever it was you were doing, or whatever it is you were doing, or whoever you're doing. Enjoy it.
I gotta take the old van home. Take the old van home.
A special thank you to CW. O'Reilly for that wonderful theme song you hear at the beginning of the show. Make sure to check out his Instagram at CW. O'Reilly.